Good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to have the webinar about scientific integrity. We will start in about 3 minutes, so we have more time for the students who are still logging in to join us. So just wait a little bit, and in a few minutes we are going to start. For the students who are logging in now and joining us, we are waiting a few more minutes, 2 more minutes, so we can start our webinar about scientific integrity. So just wait a little bit more so the other students can have time to join us too. Okay, everyone, so I think this is a good time for us to start our webinar about scientific integrity. So good afternoon, and today I welcome Dr. Petr Zelensky, my colleague, and he will be talking about topics regarding scientific integrity and issues relevant for your future career. And I hope you will enjoy the webinar. So welcome, Petr Zelensky. Now I pass you the word.
Rebecca, thank you very much for the introduction and welcome everybody to today's webinar. I'm very happy that you have joined it because I personally think that the topic of academic integrity and ethics in science is really relevant. It's very important for anyone who is studying, who is deciding to stay at academia, or who is generally in any way connected with academia. So I think anyone should at least know basics of this problematics of this topic and be aware of that. Moreover, because I think that the integrity and ethics is very important in the whole life of a person, no matter what you will decide to do after your studies, if you will decide to make a career outside of academia, I really believe that any task, any activity that you will be doing, that you will be taking part in, you should approach with integrity, and you should always keep in mind ethics when it comes to your behavior and your general life. So I really think that the topic that we are going to talk about is relevant, that it's interesting, and I hope that it will be enriching for you. So let's start the presentation, and we will start with a little overview what we are going to cover today. So, academic integrity and ethics in science, what are going to be the subdivisions, let's say. So today's contents, first we will start with the ethics in science, with a little introduction, with the basics of it, what is it about. Then I will show you some guidelines that you can see, that you can check on your own, and that you can actually follow when you will be, let's say, working uh, in academia. We will talk about the ways how to avoid problems before you make some mistakes, how to avoid, how to be one step ahead. And also we will discuss specific issues when it comes to academic integrity and especially ethical behavior in academia. So these are the four main parts of today's presentation. We will cross them one by one during the next slides, and we will talk a little bit more in detail about each of them. So let's start with the ethics, with the academic ethics, with the introduction of it. So first of all, what is it? What is academic integrity? What is academic ethics? So let's see, very easy source. Let's see Wikipedia. What does it tell us? So academic integrity, it is the moral code or ethical policy of academia. So let's say it's a set of rules. It's a uh, set of let's say, advices how to behave when you are doing any activity, when you are doing any work, when you are doing research, when you are studying, when you are publishing something, when you are spreading some information from the academic and research environment among your colleagues, but also among the wider public. So this is academic integrity. And why is it actually important? So you should be aware that science and academic communication is very much based on trust. So when you publish something, you are, let's say, describing some research outcomes that you have. You are publishing it, you are trying to spread it among other researchers, but also among the wider public. You need the people who are reading your work, who are seeing your data, who are getting the information from you. It can be also, let's say, spoken information when you are doing some interviews, when you are actually talking to a television, to a radio, or when you are doing videos on the YouTube. You need the people who are actually getting or who are actually learning the content that you are giving them. You need them to trust you. This trust is very much based on the good reputation of scientific institutions, of the science in general. So what happens if we as scientists or academic workers or students staying at the academia, if we will not follow the rules of ethics and if we will not approach the task with integrity, what happens? What happens is that the people outside of academia, but also scientists between each other, they will not trust the data. They will not trust what you are writing in a paper. They will not trust what you are telling them because they will have an experience from the past that something that they have read somewhere has been, let's say, not trustworthy, has been not correct, has been by intent, let's say, presented in the wrong way. Uh, something misleading was placed in front of them, and it was placed as a truth. So if these misleading, if these breaches of ethics and integrity happen too often, the scientists will not trust between each other. The scientists will not have trust between each other, and also general public will not trust scientific, let's say, people from the science and academia. They will not trust them. Why is it also important to keep integrity and ethics when you are, let's say, publishing, when you are spreading your the results of your work? It is important because some other people may use it. They may use what you have researched. They may use the outcomes of your activities, and they will take them as a basis of their own research. They will trust them, they will trust the data, they will take the data from you, and on the basis of this data or on these findings, they will actually follow and they will extend it, and then they will try to move the frontier of the human knowledge a little bit farther. So if they are actually basing their work on something faulty, on something that was misinterpreted by even by purpose. It is really bad because they will not know about it. They will spend a lot of time, and then at the end they will find out that maybe somebody's research was faulty, and then they were doing their job for nothing because just the whole basics were not correct. So it is really important to keep integrity and to keep in mind the ethics of science and of research. One more thing that I wanted to show you is this quite nice publication which is called On Being a Scientist. We will not go through it very much in detail. You can have a look at home. Later on, the links, both for the academic integrity, you can find it quite easily actually at the Google, the Wikipedia, but you have the link below this video, as well as the link on this little publication on being a scientist. So let's just check it very briefly. So just give it a little moment. Okay, so you can see on being a scientist, a guide to responsible conduct in research, already third edition. It's a quite nice book. You can find it online. It is not too long. It has only 64 pages. So if you are interested a little in more details about the scientific integrity, you can check this book. So what actually happens if somebody behaves unethical in an unethical way in the science? So first of all, there are some implications for the author, because when it is found out, it is quite a big problem for the author, also for the career of the author, because if the breach of integrity and scientific ethics is found, it will stuck with the person. It will be known, it will be written online, it will be easy to find it, and it will definitely be a problem, especially if you will be going up in the academic career. If you will be applying for some higher positions, this will be checked, and if this will be found, even some small misconducts, it may be quite a big trouble. Also, there is a consequence for colleagues, because let's say that somebody publishes a paper in a wider team. There is usually one person or there may be one person who misinterprets the data by mistake, by purpose, sometimes even. And then the guilt actually, let's say, lands on the colleagues, on the co-authors of the publication as well. So that's really not nice, of course. There are consequences for the university, for the institution, because the institution, the university, is also undersigned in the publication, in the statements, and if there is some misinterpretation or if there are some mistakes, the university will be known for that. So that's or the institution will be known for that. So not really good. Then the implication is within the team of the university. Probably the people who are in charge of the university will not be happy with the worker who makes these breaches, and it may have consequences in the career way as well as the employment way, of course. There are the implications for the other scientists using the data, the findings. As I told you, there may be people who actually take the data, who take the findings which are misinterpreted. They will consider them as trustworthy. They will base their own research on them. They will try to continue in the way that was said by somebody else. And after spending some amount of time, it can be fast when they discover that the data are faulty, but it can also take quite a long time. So then they give energy, they give time, they give effort, they give money in their own research, and then after some time they find out that the basis of their research was faulty, that the way that they are pursuing is not worth to actually extend, that there is no good end, and then they will just waste all these resources. So that's a quite important consequence to consider. And also, as I told on the previous slide, there is a big consequence for credibility of science when it comes to public, for the general public, but also for the funding from the governmental bodies. if the science is not trustworthy, the public will not trust it. Of course, the science will not get fundings from the governments because they will not see the the they will see the issues that may arise from the spended money of the state. So it is really important to keep the integrity, to keep the ethics, to think about the other people, to keep, think about the science in general when it comes to academic activities and let's say publishing, speaking publicly, writing journals, writing books, and generally spreading your findings, spreading your research outcomes. So, what is unethical behavior? Breaches of academic, scientific, research integrity, scientific or research misconduct. So there are three main types. The first one is plagiarism, the second is falsification, the third one is fabrication. We will talk about them one by one in the next slides. But in general, unethical behavior is questionable, detrimental research practices which are violating other standards. For example, making conclusions without relevant data, misleading or wrong statistics by purpose, misinterpretation. Again, it can be by purpose or it can be unintentional, but you have to really be careful not to misinterpret because of some background thinking that you may have. Publishing issues, this is more, it's usually more about making mistakes when let's say stating authors and so on. But these things can be an issue, and we will talk about them in detail very soon. So, what is important to know that ethics in science is constantly developing. There are ongoing discussions on many issues that were not mentioned in the previous slide. This is due to the fact that the science itself is also developing. The ways of funding the project are developing, the ways of evaluating authors are developing, the publishing ways are developing. So with this, also the ethics is changing. Though nobody 200 years ago would be thinking let's say, to publish the same work in some journals 3 times, 4 times, because there were not so many journals. But for example, at this time, there are so many journals that you can take one work and try to publish them at more places. Anyway, the general background of science is changing, and with this also the ethics. So it is good to follow the development in the related areas, because as the ethics change, also the rules change. So, so you should be aware of that. So what are the topics which are discussed at this point? Scientific dilemmas, responsibility of a researcher. So should we do the research? This is especially related to the research areas which have some implication, can be to human health, the warfare, can be the areas which can be misused for some not really good things in the human society. So there is always this dilemma if you should do the research, and if it is bringing more good than bad to the world. Another topic is misuse of scientific information, pseudoscience, just let's say doing science for science without any clear target to actually achieve. What is very much discussed now is evaluation of research, validity of metrics, because this is really very much related to fundings of universities, of institutions. So how should we evaluate the publication outcomes? How should we evaluate the people who are working in academia? How should we assess who should get the fundings, who shouldn't get the fundings? So the ethics is not only related to the people who are actually working in academia, but also the people who are, let's say, founding the academia. They are also involved in this. What is also discussed quite a lot is collaboration, authorship, workspace relations, for example, misusing seniority, favoritism, safety among the colleagues, So there is a lot of things being discussed. Again, ethics is changing from time to time, or gradually, sorry, it's changing gradually, so you should keep an eye on it, and especially if you are traveling. So it is, as I told, not solely related to scientists, also to publishing industry, there is a ethics related to this. For example, publishers and subscription policies, predatory journals, copyright, conflicts of interest between authors and reviewers, spreading. There is quite, let's say, big discussion about the ways how to spread the knowledge, because historically it was more common that you were publishing for free in the journals that were paid by the readers. So when somebody who wanted the information wanted to access the journal and get the papers, he or she or his or her institution had to pay some money to the journal to actually access the data, to access the publications. Nowadays, it's more switching into the open access, which means that the person who is publishing is paying, who is covering some fee to actually have his or her his work published, which is making the science much more open, which is making the data much more available to the wider public, but it's bringing some, let's say, ethical issues at the side of the publishers, because it can push them to accept papers with lower value because they are paid by the person who is publishing them, who is submitting them. So this has to be all considered during the publishing process. Uh, Other issues: open science, sharing data, reproducibility. There is some issue with the peer review process, if it should be single blind, double blind, or if it should be just open, so the reviewers and the authors, they know about each other, they don't know each other's names, and they can communicate. Again, it is quite complicated to decide what is the best. People talk about it, and this changes quite frequently. So, what are the guidelines for ethics in science? Of course, as I was telling, it is a little bit, or as you can see, it is a little bit complicated issue. There is a lot of rules, there is a lot of sub-issues related to this problematics. Good for you, or for, let's say, every scientist, for every person who is staying at academia, there are quite clear guidelines how to behave, how to pursue your research, how to publish, and how to set your academic life and your academic activities. So I have selected the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity, although that there are many other guidelines. I have chosen this one. I think it is quite nice one. So let's check it. Sorry, let's check it. So the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity, it is a very short document. It has around 20 pages. Let's say it's a brief guideline to good research practice. You can see, let's see the table of content. So you can see that it gives you some principles: good research practice, violation of research integrity, and some links to key resources, revision process, and list of stakeholders. Permanent working group on scientific science and ethics. Anyway, so it is a very short guideline which is universally applicable and gives a general practice on a good research based on shared values. So the main principles are reliability, honesty, respect, and accountability. So what does it tell you? So reliability, it's to ensure the quality of research reflected in the design, the methodology, the analysis, and the use of resources. So again, your research has to be reliable. People have to trust it. Honesty in developing, undertaking, reviewing, reporting, and communicating research in a transparent, fair, full, and unbiased way. So really, you have to present to the people what you found. You shouldn't misinterpret the data. You should present the data in the way that they are really, in the way that they really are, and not to be tintering them, and not to be changing them in the way that you need. You should keep respect for colleagues, research participants, society, ecosystems, cultural heritage, and the environment. And also accountability for the research from idea to publication, for its management and organization, for training, supervision, and mentoring, and for its wider impacts. So there are these four main uh, points that you should keep in mind when you are doing research. Some other guidelines can extend this, but again, these are the four main values that you should really keep. So you can see quite easy to redocument, very short. We don't have really time to go through all of it. You can have a look at it at home. There is a link to this document under the video of the webinar. So let's go back to the presentation. Yes, I think this we can skip. This we already, yes, that we went through. So again, reliability, honesty, respect, accountability, very important points to keep during academic or scientific work, but I also believe that these 4 points are really important to actually keep during any activities that you will make, not in the academia only, but also in any encounters during your whole life, if you will be working for a company, but also in your personal life. I think these 4 values are really, yeah, I think that you shouldn't forget about them. So there are other similar guidelines that, as the one that from the EU that I've showed you, they are usually issued by states, by professional bodies, like the different, let's say, international associations of engineering, of basic sciences, of humanistic sciences. They do prepare and they do publish guidelines for ethics in science, in the activities related to their field of interest. Universities also have them. I'm pretty sure that your university will have some guideline on ethics in academia. You may already have heard about it. If you haven't, you can check it. I'm very sure that your university will have it, or they will at least have some links or some relations to the state one or the ministerial one. So there are other ones by institutes, by funding agencies, by publishers, and so on. So it is really good to get familiar with the guidelines of ethics, scientific ethics, that is relevant for you when you move around, which means if you change universities, if you change the institution that you work at, if you go to a new research institution, you should check if they have some guideline. You should read it. They are usually not too long, and you should get yourself familiar with the rules that the institution where you work at use, that they, let's say, expect their workers to follow. So it's really good, especially if you will be changing positions nationally or internationally, to keep up to date and to be checking the guidelines for your particular spot at that point. Also, there are guidelines by journals. There are instructions for authors that may be relevant to all of you, but also there are instructions for reviewers, for the people who are doing the peer review, who are checking the work of other scientists and who are making the not corrections but comments, who are doing the review. So all the journals have this. They are sometimes hard to find, but if you search well enough, I'm sure that you will be able to find them. There are just some examples of guidelines and policies by publishers Elsevier, Springer, and Wiley. So you can see under these names, it's very easy to find it if you will just input this in the search engine of Google. It will be the first link to go. So there in Elsevier, there are policies and guidelines. This is for authors, and publishing ethics for editors. There are two separate ones. By Springer, there is publishing ethics for journals, and editorial policies, and Wiley has publishing ethics guideline, which are general for everybody. So anyway, you can have a look at them if you want. I don't think that it's so important. I think what is important just to have a look at the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity, which is very general, which is universally applicable, so you will get to know the basics, the main points. I don't think that you, at this point of your academic life, that you have to be studying it too much in detail. But anyway, if you would be interested, you can see also the one by the individual publishers. Sorry. So, avoiding problems. Always it is good to avoid problems before they happen, to be one step ahead, not to make mistakes, or be aware where the mistakes could arise and try to avoid them. So how do we do it? At the very point when you are designing your research, you should already think about the ethical points of it. You should start from the beginning, start at the beginning of your research, but you should keep thinking about the ethics during the whole process, and you should keep your academic integrity. So when you are designing your research, you should think about the question why. Why are you doing the research? What is the reason? You should think what are the possible benefits of your research, and if there are any risks. There can be, let's say, risk if you are processing personal data, when you are using human participants in your research, when you are using some biological materials. So what are the risks and what are the benefits? Also, there can be the risks of misuse of your research, so you should consider them as well. But again, weight it over the benefits. So already when you are designing your research, when you are thinking up of your research topic, you should think about this. You should think about what and how you will be doing your research, and try to uncover possible ethical issues in the planned activities. Can be environmental protection and working, as I mentioned, with personal data, with human participants, with cells, with some dangerous materials, and so on. So you should consider this and always weigh the benefits that you are expecting over the risks. You should for sure have solid research design and data management plan. You should work in a, let's say, careful way with your data to first avoid mistakes, to be able to archive information. So later on, when you will come back to the to some issue, you will actually have the raw data, the raw information to actually double check. And you should enable data validation and replicability of results. So when you are making a publication, it is important to state all the important information for the other scientists to be actually able to replicate your research and to check if it is all correct. Of course, mistakes happen. Maybe your experiment was not so well designed, or maybe you made one little mistake. It was unintentional. Still, it is important to give all the basic information, all the relevant information for the other scientists to be able to go and check your research from the beginning to the end and double check if your findings are correct. So that's one of the let's say scientific integrity points. Also, when preparing a grant application, when asking for fundings, you should consider ethical issues. So there is this document from the European Commission, which is called How to Complete Your Ethics Self-Assessment. It's quite an easy guideline for everyone to use step by step to follow and check the self-assessment test of your, let's say, proposal for funding and tender opportunities. To avoid breaches of ethics, it's also important to actually follow the rules through the whole research process. You should use the good research and scientific methods. You should be systematic and creative, yet you should be skeptic and critical. So when you get some data, you should really not at the very first point, let's say, suppose, or you should not be 100% sure that they are correct. You should be skeptic. You should really keep somewhere in your mind the possibility that your data are not correct, and you should appraise them critically. You should evaluate them with a big part of criticism to really find if they are really correct, if you are not misled by some expectations, and if you are using the right ways, the right data. You should double check by yourself, but also ask your colleagues, ask people in your team to double check for you, because more head knows more, and you should get the help from the others. It always is a good way how to avoid, let's say, breaches of integrity and make mistakes. You should avoid bias. There are different types: cognitive, social, culture, expectation, and algorithmic. So let's say in your culture is something expected, so you will just evaluate the data on the basis of this expectation. Or maybe it is your personal expectation. You are doing some experiment, you have something in your mind how the results should be, then you get the data and you take this idea that you somehow prefabricated at the beginning, and on the basis of this idea you actually evaluate the data. So you of course find the patterns that you need, because you search in the one particular way that you prefabricated, but it may not be necessarily the right way. You should really be critical and skeptic. What is important, don't let your expectations to influence your reasoning, because it happens when you expect something, you adjust your reasoning in the way that you appraise, that you interpret the data in the way that you want them to be. So you should be aware of this, and you should try to avoid that. And again, it is good to discuss the outcomes with other people, with colleagues, with somebody out of the team, and let's say critically, or have another eye to see them in a critical way. So this really helps. One more, or another issue during the research process: you should keep a good collaboration with your colleagues. You should always keep respect to your colleagues. You should of course keep safety. You shouldn't endanger anyone. You should keep a good way of communication, and you should delegate the roles in a good way. You should delegate the role so everybody knows what is his or her role, and there are no miscommunication issues. You should keep proper recording, analyzing, and storing data. First of all, that you should be careful so there is no data breach in the case that you are working with data which are, let's say, which are not to be shared with anyone else. And you should aim for the replicability of the research methods and replicability of the whole research, let's say, outcomes. I already talked about this. Then, during the reporting research, during writing and publishing, what is important when it comes to academic integrity and ethics: you should work carefully with references. You should avoid plagiarism. You should avoid using some other people's work without referencing them, intentional or not intentional. We will talk about this a bit later, but this is quite an important and easy to detect thing nowadays, so you should be careful about that. You should limit self-citation. So if you have some other publications, I'm not telling not to do it at all. Sometimes it's actually good to self-cite some other work. If you had a publication, previous one, and then the publication that you are currently work on is based on this one, on the previous one, you should of course self-cite yourself, but you should limit it and not abuse it or overuse it. You should be accurate, clear, and transparent when you are working your text. We covered this very much at the teachable course, so just follow the guidelines there. You should definitely avoid data fabrication and falsification. We will again talk about it on the next slides. You should report responsibly when it comes to data protection, research involving humans or animals, and so on. You should properly acknowledge your colleagues, the other authors. Again, we will talk about it. We will talk about it on the next slide. You should choose the journal in a good way. You should avoid predatory journals. You should read and follow the journal guidelines. I think this one is not that important when it comes to ethics. It's more important when it comes to proper formatting, but still it may help you to actually see what the journal is asking you when it comes to, let's say, ethical behavior, integrity, and so on. You should definitely avoid duplicate, concurrent submission and publication. I mentioned it before. Now it can happen that you take one work and try to publish them at different journals. You should not do that. Let's say that you have a paper and you want to publish it. You selected, let's say, 3 journals where it could go. So you should one by one try to publish in them. So you choose the one that is the most relevant for you. You try to publish there. Either the work is published or not. If it is published, then good for you. All your publishing process is done. If it is not published, if it's rejected, you take your work and try to publish it in the second journal, in the second best journal. But you shouldn't do it in the way that you take your work and submit it at 3 journals at once. Let them make all the reviews and then withdraw the publication from 2 of them and just keep in one that you like the most. That's really unethical. You are wasting some other people's time. You are wasting other people's time. You are wasting other people's effort and energy. You should not do that. So the specific issues that we will go through now. So what is plagiarism? I mentioned it before. So plagiarism is using other people's work and ideas without giving proper credit to the original source, thus violating the rights of the original authors to their intellectual outputs and of course to their recognition. We talked about it as teachable when you are using other people's work, if you are using maybe data from other researchers, when you are using some methods which were designed by other researchers, you have to acknowledge them. You have to cite them. You have to mention where you found the information. You have to mention their publication. You have to show that it is not your own work, that it's some other people's work. So there are several types of plagiarism that you should try to avoid. There can be referencing mistakes. This is not so serious. Maybe mistakes in the date, mistakes in the names, mistakes in the publication titles. Okay, that's not such a big deal. However, there can be the other extreme, which is missing citations. So it is okay. You are using some other people's work, but you don't cite them at all. So it seems to the reader that the findings that you are stating, for example, are your own, that you are stealing some other people's outcomes, research outcomes. So this is a serious one. It can be intentional, unintentional. Of course, again, mistakes happen. So therefore, you should be really meticulous when it comes to the citations, when it comes to work with the data with other sources. You should try to avoid the unintentional ones as much as possible, and you should not do the intentional ones because, again, plagiarism, it is a big issue in academia. It can bring you a lot of troubles. What you should be aware, maybe you already are, it is really easy to find in these days. The plagiarism, it is really easy to spot. If you copy some people's text in your own work, there are software for that where you upload your text and it's immediately highlighted what is actually taken from other authors, and it can be very easily checked. So be careful about this. So it is moreover both ethical and legal issue. ethical is, okay, you are doing something bad in the science, in the academia. The legal issue is you are actually stealing other people's property. It's intellectual property, but still it's a property. And there can be some legal issue, and you could be actually legally, um, let's say legally, there could be some legal encounterment for you. Uh, So, how to avoid plagiarism? You should be meticulous and organized when writing and working with citations. Already told this. And before submitting text, you should run it through the find the one that you like the most. But again, before you take your work and try to publish it, submit it to some conference, to some journal, check if it is all correct, if there are no plagiarity issues, because maybe you could have forgotten some citation by an honest mistake, and it's just an easy thing to add it there and have everything in a correct way. So another two issues, falsification and fabrication. So what are these? Manipulating research materials, equipment or processes, or changing, omitting or suppressing data or results with justification. So basically fabrication is making up results and recording them as if they were real. Same falsification, it is, let's say, adjusting your results, falsifying outcomes of your research. Really serious misconduct when it comes to the work in academia. If this is found in your papers, you have a big trouble. I would like to advise you to see this video, sorry, one step back, which is called Data Fabrication and Falsification. Let's just go through it very briefly. It's quite long, so I think you can look at it later after the webinar, because we don't have so much space, but just I'll show you what is it about. So the video, again, targeting data fabrication and falsification. I don't want to go through this video in detail because it's quite long, 10 minutes. Anyway, you will get, let's say, review information about what are fabrication and falsification. We already talked about it. However, there are some, what could be interesting for you, there are some examples of scientists which actually committed some fabrication or falsification of data. There are some well-known cases, so you can actually see what happens to a senior scientist, to some well-known important scientist, if they actually approach, or if they approach the wrong way, if they go the wrong way, fabricate data, and what happens to them, and actually what happens to their careers, because it is really big misconduct when it comes to the academic environment and let's say working in science, to actually be committing this and to be accused of this, maybe sometimes rightfully. What is also important, there are some more discussions on the implications of the research frauds, what happens with the scientists, about their reputation and credibility of the authors, about their careers, and more general science, let's say, implications. And also there are the reasonings why do scientists commit frauds. What is important to tell it is that academic frauds are quite rare. The good integrity and the good ethics is quite strong feature among the scientific community, about the scientists in general. So these issues, these let's say negative issues, happen not too often, but sometimes they do happen. So that's there is the discussion, why is it so, and what leads to the scientists to do these things. Okay, so again, I advise you to see the video after the webinar. The link is below the YouTube video, YouTube live video, so you can check it later on when you have time. So let's go back to the presentation. So when it comes to falsification and fabrication, it is not related only to, let's say, text and the raw data. It is also related to image manipulation. It can be from the very small issue, or let's say little less serious issue, which is misleading graphics. You can be using graphics that are backing up your statements, but you actually know somehow that some other graphics are not so that they are not so conclusive, and then you decide to use the ones that are. So it is not a really good way to do that. Uh, what is more serious is inappropriate enhancement of images, which can be moving, adding, obscuring specific features, duplication, rotation, plagiarism of images. These are serious ones, and you should not do them, of course. On the other hand, there are some small adjustments which might be acceptable. Always check the journal policies. Can be adjustments, let's say, can be colors, maybe adjustments of contrast, so you can see better the outcomes from the pictures. So, for example, these ones are acceptable, of course, but still you should check the policies of your field and the journal that you publish. What is nice link, what is nice, let's say, web page to check is the web page of United States Office of Research Integrity. There are again some examples of misconduct findings in the USA of the academic workers, of scientists in the USA. So there are some cases of the scientific misconduct when it comes to integrity and ethics. So you can see that. There are also some tips for presenting scientific images with integrity, how to adjust images, how to prepare them well for publication so they are not considered as falsified or fabricated. And what is important, the US Office of Research Integrity, they developed this examining image technique, which is called forensic droplets. It's a plugin, I guess it's plugin actually to Adobe Photoshop, and with this plugin it is easy to automatically spot if the picture was actually somehow fabricated, if it was adjusted, what was adjusted there. So I just wanted to show you that not only the text, when somebody is committing plagiarism and copying some other people's text, and it is really easy to spot nowadays. Also, some not correct or some let's say wrong adjustments or misconduct adjustments of images are quite easy to automatically spot at this time. So it is really important to actually keep the right work, the right way of scientific work, the integrity of science. So how to avoid falsification and fabrication? Be meticulous when working with data. Do not tamper with results, definitely. Keep the raw data. Have a documented research plan. That is important, because if you will want to go back in the future, if you will want to double check your results, or if somebody else will want to double check your results, you will have the raw data, you will be able to see them, you will be able to share them, and you will be able to maybe spot the mistake. Sometimes mistakes happen and it is not a problem. Honest mistakes are not a problem. And you will be able to reason why you made statements such as you made. You will have the background, you will have the base of your work. Double check your work by yourself and your colleagues. Really important. Always double check everything. Another issues can be related to authorship. So authorship should be limited to those who have made a significant contribution to the concept, design, execution, or interpretation of the research study. All those who have made significant contributions should be offered the opportunity to be listed as authors. This is important. You should offer the people to be listed as authors, and they should tell if they want to be listed or if they do not want to be listed, because maybe somebody doesn't want to be in your publication for some reason. somebody thinks that his or her work was not good enough to be actually among the authors, and they can refuse to be mentioned as authors. So you have to know who helped you have to know your research team, and you have to go one by one and, I don't know, email them. You can talk to them and ask them, look, do you want to be one of the authors or you do not want to be one of the authors? And then they will have to give you their approval, their decision. So other individuals who have contributed to the study should be acknowledged, but not identified, as authors. So if there are some people who are maybe helping you a little bit uh, in the laboratory, who are helping you a little bit with maybe evaluating, double checking the text, making the corrections in uh, the language corrections and so on, you should also mention them, but just in the acknowledgement. They shouldn't be under the title. They shouldn't be as the authors of the whole publication. So, but again, it is really important to keep an eye on the good statement of authorship, because if you forget somebody, the people will remember it. They will know that they helped you with your research. They will know that they made a big part of the job, and then they will not appear in the publication, and then they will be bitter about it. They will be a bit angry about it. They will remember that you forgot them, and they may not sue you, or they may not tell you off or anything, but they will remember it, and then they will not be very happy about it. So just think twice who you are mentioning as authors, and state the authorship in the right way. What is a little complicated with the authorship is that in different fields there are different customs. For example, the sequence of authors. In some field, they are like engineering, they are mentioned by significance. So the first author of the paper is the most significant one, the second is a bit less, the third is even less, and so on. So in some fields, the significance is important. In some other fields, the authors are just listed alphabetically. No. In some other fields, the last author is the most important. So it is important for you to actually check how is it in your field of studies, if you're in your field of research, in the journal where you are publishing, how you should put the order of authors so nobody gets angry and everything is clear. Who is the main author? Is it important to actually show who is the main author, or is it just alphabetical, and so on? So this is a little bit tricky. Journals have some author contribution statements, which can be inside of the paper. What is important now, that ghost or gift authorship, let's say you have some supervisor that you like very much and you want to mention him as the author of your publication, even though that he doesn't, or he haven't contributed very much or even at all, and you just write him that so he or she has a publication. That is considered as unethical. It is okay, it's a gift for the supervisor or for some colleague of yours, but when it comes to science, this shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be just giving around the merits, let's say. How to handle authorship disputes, I think that's not very important for you at this point. What is important, I mentioned it in the acknowledgement section of the paper. There is one chapter which is very short. You can mention the minor contributors, like name the people who helped you a little bit with your research, so you show that you are grateful, that you haven't forgotten about them, but they didn't do such a big contribution to your research to be actually mentioned as main authors. They will be fine with that, I assure you. They will understand that. They will actually know the value of their work that they inputted in your research. They will be aware that the input was not such a big part of the research, but they will be very happy that they are mentioned in the paper, and then you just know about them and their contribution. Another issue, predatory journals. We talked about it at the Teachable, so I'll just go through that in a brief way so we don't waste too much time. You should definitely beware of predatory journals, you should not publish in them. It is bad for you. If somebody later on finds out that you, by mistake or by purpose even, published in the predatory journal, it is a big minus when it comes to, let's say, continuing in the academic career and, let's say, assessing your history. So beware of the spam emails, all the speedy publication offers, which are telling you, okay, you pay, and then within 2 weeks we publish your work in the peer-reviewed journal with impact factor, whoa, whoa, whoa. It is very suspicious. The publishing is never fast, so be aware of that. There are also predatory conferences and predatory publishers of books. Usually the publishers of books, they ask you to pay them money to actually publish your book. Yeah, beware of that, because then, okay, the books will be printed somewhere, but they will not actually have any, let's say, scientific value. Nobody will want them. For characteristic of predatory journals, see teachable presentation. I will just remind you, check Beale's list. There is archive from 2016, but also there are the Beale's continuers, the other people who are actually continuing on the activity of Dr. Beale, which is listing the predatory journals. Check this. You can check the whitelist of different publishers, and of course check with your supervisor, with your librarian, with your colleagues when you select some paper, some journal to publish your publication in. Check it with your supervisor and the people around you if the journal is trustful, if they have heard about it, if they advise you to publish there or not. It is the easiest way, just communicate with the people around. So when it comes to articles, rejection and retraction, so there are issues, let's say, related to the scientific integrity. Rejection, it is not that much connected to this actually. This happens to papers before publication. When you submit your paper for publication to some journal, it can be rejected for various reasons. Most straightforward, your paper doesn't fit in the scope of the journal. They just don't want the topic that you are covering. Okay, that happens. You can try to publish somewhere else. Another point is they reviewed it and they found that it is not good enough. Again, you made everything fine. Maybe your data are not strong enough. Maybe your reasoning is not strong enough. Just they don't want it. They reject it. Happens. What can happen also that the anti-plagiarism software found that your publication is having quite a large amount of some other people's text or some other people's findings without proper citations. This is an issue related to academic ethics. It shouldn't happen to you. It is a trouble. The journal people will of course remember that you submitted a paper which is full or somehow corrupted by plagiarism, and they will reject it, and then they will keep an, let's say, note in your name. So you have to avoid this. It is really bad for you to be submitting publication which is rejected due to the plagiarism. When it comes to retraction, this happens to already published papers. This happens, you take a paper, you publish it somewhere, later on you find that there are mistakes. It happens. People make mistakes in the research. Mistakes happen. Maybe later on you will be double checking your experiment, you will be double checking your data, you find that there is a mistake. You have to contact the publisher, tell him about that, and retract the paper, or maybe correct the paper. Take it back, make corrections, give them again for a review, republish it. So these things happen. It is important to remember that within the scientific integrity, if you find a mistake, you have to inform the publisher, you have to retract the paper, you have to change the paper, and happens. There are both reasons of misconduct. There are reasons, both misconduct and honest mistakes. Honest mistakes, they are good. You didn't know about it. It happened. Okay, there was some, I don't know, mouse in your tube, and it was blocked, and later on, you found out that okay, the pressure drop was different. Not your fault, very much happens, but the misconduct is really an issue. If you make, let's say, fabrication of data, if you make mistake or if you know about the mistake and you just forget by purpose to mention it in your publication, that's bad, and the paper can get retracted. Different journals might use different ways to retract articles. They may or may not provide reasons. How to cope with that. Retraction guidelines for scholarly publishing. Okay. Just for you to know that these issues happen, rejection and retraction of publications. There are some sources to keep yourself informed regarding the issue that we are talking today: retraction watches, databases, Committee on Publication Ethics flowcharts, the Office of Research Integrity, Wikipedia. There is a lot of more materials online. Just if you are interested in this, you can definitely keep yourself informed more. But I think at this point of because you are mostly students at this point, so I think for you it is really important to know the basics about this issue of academic integrity and ethics, to be aware of it, to know why is it so important for us as scientists, but for us as humans, to keep good behavioral integrity and keep in mind ethics when it comes to our surroundings. And I think that should be enough for you at this point. So let's just skip to the summary. So what did we talk about today? Ethics in science. The most common breaches of academic integrity are fabrication, falsification, plagiarism. Try to avoid all of these. Besides these, there are many other ethic issues one comes across when working in academia and let's say the related areas, and the possibility of charges are likely to develop through time, so it doesn't happen to you at the point. It can come to you back later when you are trying to, let's say, move forward in your career. Somebody can be checking your previous publications, the places where you published, the way how you published the data, and it can, let's say, haunt you. You should be aware of your institutional and journal founding agency requirements when it comes to these issues, and the best way to avoid problem is to be meticulous when working with data and resources. Always keep the raw data, assess them in a critical way. Aim for applicability of research when it comes to dealing with data and reporting research. Give the other people possibility to actually replicate your research, to check if the data are correct, and to be sure that you are giving all the information. It gives credibility to you. People will trust the data, the information that you are providing, and it is just good for science in general. Stick to the rules of the good scientific methods and be respectful towards your colleagues, towards society, and towards the environment. So these are just the general ideas, and that was all for today. So thank you very much for your attention. Let me just close the presentation. Okay, so again, thank you very much for coming. I hope that this webinar was interesting for you, that you got some new information, that you already know the basis of the scientific integrity and ethics, and you know, or you have an idea why is it so important for you as an individual, but also for us as a scientific and academic community. So I hope that it will a bit stick with you, because I really think that it is important. So again, thank you very much for coming. This was the last webinar in this year's UNIGOU remote set of webinars. It was a pleasure for us to actually organize these webinars, and I hope that you have enjoyed them very much. So thank you very much again, and have a nice day.